Good morning, Jay, and thank you very much for your check-in. So we've had a nice push on this week, coming down by, what is it? Good morning, YouTube, and welcome back to my channel. So what we have got this week is I decided to do like a week in review of kind of how my week has gone. We are currently in, I've got my laptop here so I don't have to look through things. So we've just finished up, so it's currently the 26th of April. So this was the last day of week 11, so we're heading into week 12. So what's happened this week? We've had a drop this week of about 2.9 pounds on average. So last week my average body weight was 207.7 pounds. This week is 204.8 pounds. You saw in the last full day of eating, which was on Wednesday, that I've had a food drop. Has it done the job? I'm definitely looking better. I'll put my check-in pictures here somewhere. I just checked in this morning. So this morning's weight was 204.6. This will marry up with the pictures. So I did a post-workout photos for Nath on Thursday, the 24th. I actually sent him a video across because I'm getting fancy with this new phone. But really happy. Even me, who's hypercritical of my own physique and I don't see any changes, that I've definitely started to come in. Things are starting to take shape. So with that in mind, he wanted to do a high day today. Now, something that I went back to him. So Abby has been not very well for the last week or so. She's had real kind of toothache and tonsillitis and sinusitis, we believe, as well, being on antibiotics and this, that, and the other. And it's really kicked her for six. And she's finally better. And I've been wanting to do like a date night with her for a while, but with prepping, it's kind of just got in the way, like sleep's taking a priority. So I said to him, look, would it be the worst thing that as part of a high day, maybe go into like Miller and Carter, which is a steak restaurant, but it's got all the calories laid out or whatever. Or just do something along those lines where I can do something more social with Abby, just to kind of bridge that gap between prep and relationship. And he turned around and said, do you know what, maybe, take her out for sushi and we can do a spike meal instead of a high day, which actually would be, like a mental break as well. So we had that conversation, came back, and so yesterday, what did he say? He said, send pictures in the morning, but so yesterday the plan was 26 sushi rolls, so 10 nigiri, 8 maki and 8 uramaki, which if you know sushi, that's what that is, and he specified. Came back this morning, said, look, we're bumping that up to 30. So just because we need to start filling me out a little bit. So that there's two points to this. You notice in my back shots that my glutes, lower back and hamstrings are going to be the thing that coming last. Now, I think that's the case with everyone, but for me, they've actually never been in. But the front of me comes in very, very quickly. So it's a case of getting flat, really digging in and getting that lower back and glute area in. However, a weak point for me is my arms. So when you've got a weak point, it's going to be the first thing that goes. So it's balancing that. It's like, right, okay, we still want arms to show that they've improved, but at the same time, we need to dig in and get that fat off. So because there's no timeline, we can spend a little bit more time being flat, but we still got to be mindful of that arm size. So currently, today, so for the last week, I've been doing 300 calories of cardio, which is about 23 to 25 minutes now, and 11,000 steps. So today he turned around and he's like, look, well, he said this yesterday, funnily enough, but no cardio, but keep a routine in place. So I'm very fortunate that just over there, I've got my cross trainer on my treadmill. So I do 20 minutes on the treadmill to keep the routine in place, just not even an incline, just straight steps. So did that this morning, which will count towards my step goal, but it keeps that routine in place, which I think is super important. And then going out for sushi tonight. So really excited for that. Not necessarily, there's not really a food focus from me. It's more that I'm looking forward to spending some time with Abby. To be honest, a really kind of TMI thing is bowel movements slow down quite a bit, and you get, I call it all fart and no poop. So I'm quite looking forward to maybe having a nice bowel movement after 30 sushi rolls, but I'm not holding out hope. But for the day before, like the rest of today, until that meal, it's still going to be rest day food, as today is a rest day. So that is what you saw the other day, which is 2,200 calories. So maybe it'll bring it up to like from 227 carb to maybe 350, somewhere in that realm, which will be perfect timing because tomorrow I have my legs B day, which has been changed slightly. So I mentioned in a previous video, I think I may have actually cut the video, but I'm having a little bit of a glute problem. My left glute max kind of need kind of area, like up towards my hip. Anytime I'm in full flexion, so whether it be more of a hip press than a leg press, a single leg press, an RDL or something like that, there's like a pain. It's not like it just feels like if I push this, it's going to tear, and I don't want it to tear, obviously. So we had a conversation, we changed up the training. So tomorrow's session will be, first of all, a single arm cable curl. Obviously trying to keep that, as I mentioned earlier, trying to keep that arm volume in. Then I've got a glute drive, so a hip thrust, line hamstring curl, leg extension, pendulum squat, and a glute ham hyper extension. So kind of, I might actually do a video tutorial on that because there's a way that I do those that smokes the hamstrings and glutes and takes all the tension off the lower back, which for the females out there, probably very useful. And I think the males should as well, because the more muscle you have on your glutes, the more likely they are to come in, or the easier they are to come in anyway. So overall throughout the week, we've touched on the weight, touched on the cardio, touched on the steps. Performance has been great. So since the food drop, so the food drop happened on Wednesday. My leg session was really good the day before. I'm trying to remember what I did, but something that I do in my logbook, so I logbook all of my lifts. Something that I do is I write the date and the weight down of what I was that morning. So let's say, for example, yesterday was the 25th, and I would have wrote down that was 205 pounds. So that gives me a tracker of going, right, actually, yes, I matched reps from last week, but I'm also 4 pounds down from last rotation. So it gives you that kind of standpoint to look at. So I looked at it and went, so I think last time I did, actually I can tell you, last time I did push B was, I was 208 pounds. It was after a high carb day, so 450 gram of carbs. And I ended up getting 2.5 plates on the incline Smith for 7. Was I happy with the form? I probably just got a bit overzealous. The weight moved very nicely, but I just really, really was fired up to get in it. So I got 6 this week, which was so same weight, 6 reps, but the form was nice. It was much better. So I was really happy with that. And I ended up adding load in all of my push sessions, which for me, that is the main kind of idea of where my performance is. As soon as I start getting lighter, my press and strength just dies. So I found that the fact that is holding is fantastic. On my pull B session, the main movement is a chest supported T-bar. I ended up adding 5 kilos and matching reps yesterday. So again, really happy with that. And yeah, just performance has been flying, to be honest. Sleep has been pretty good. I don't think I mentioned this before, but I'm now getting to the point where it's waking me up at stupid o'clock in the morning, as you saw in the day in the life, maybe. I don't know, because there was a video that I deleted because I can waffle, and it ended up taking just over an hour of a day in the life, and I'm not that interested. But so this morning my body wanted to wake me up at 2:45, and I was like, I'm not having any of this. So went back to sleep, and then it was broken from there on. But yeah, so that was that was interesting, and it's starting to not annoy me because I like getting up. I'm a morning person, but it's getting to the point now where I'm like, come on, can I just have a lay-in? I'm even using things like melatonin to make sure that I can sleep the way through. But once I'm up, I'm up. So I ended up getting up about 5 this morning, but for about 2 hours of broken sleep. But that's fine. It's all part of the process. When you're hungry, your body wakes you up because it's hungry. But yeah, so that's basically how the week's gone. Back to baseline food tomorrow, so no high days or anything like that. I am going to touch base with Nath to see what he wants. Cardio is back in tomorrow. I'm going to make a log of that now. And yeah, the only other exciting thing that I've got today really is I've got a chiropractor assessment. So I've been going to a chiro for probably about 4 or 5, maybe longer, maybe about 2 months now. There's a place near me called the Hawley Spinal Centre or Hawley Spinal Clinic that do a free spinal exam, and then they'll do a full x-ray and everything for £60. And I was like, right, do you know what? I've got this glute problem. Let's see if it's hip based. What I've had in the past is my anytime I pull around 4.5 plates, about 200 kilos from the floor, over time that will eventually give my glutes some trouble. So I was like, right, okay, maybe there's something more underlying, because I get deep tissue massages twice a month. Maybe there's something more underlying from there. And they found that my spine, the lower part, so my lumbar spine, where it attaches to the SI joint, is right off like that, or well was. So over the last 2 months, I've been going twice a week, and the performance output that I've managed to do, like simple things like in calf raises, I'm not leaning to one side anymore. I can feel tension both sides perfectly. I'm having, even on squat patterns, the kind of like pressure distribution is equal. And I think this is where the glute problem has come from, is that actually my left side glute hadn't been firing for so long, and now it's like, right, you want me to do all this work? So I think that's where it stemmed from. But that just means that it's going to get stronger. I've noticed that even on cardio, beforehand my quads would just be fried from cardio, but now my glutes are doing a lot of the work, and I think this is why my glutes are coming in a lot quicker than I was expecting them to. There's still a long way to go, but I think there's an element of that. It's also helped with my breathing, so my neck was all out of whack as well. Sitting at a desk. For those that don't know, I work in a finance team and have done for a decade now. So sitting at a desk all day like this, or just moving my head around in a stationary spot, has probably not done too much good on that front. But it so they've adjusted that, and it's really helped with my nasal breathing, something that I've struggled with for years. And it's I've tried all sorts of stuff, Orbis oil, nasal strips before bed, really getting hot baths. I've got a sauna just behind the camera now, which I use every rest day, so I'll use that today at some point. When I'll get that in, I don't know. But stuff like that, I've tried everything, cranking down on hay fever tablets. I was taking probably 4 times the recommended amount using nasal sprays, the lot, just to try and figure it out. But this chiropractor stuff has really helped with that, so that's good. But anyway, I'm going in for an exam to see where I am at the treatment. So that's going to be, I've got to leave in about 5-10 minutes actually, and got to get a meal in. But yes, so really happy with the results on that. And that's basically the week in review. See how the sushi goes tonight. I might film a little bit of that, to be honest. You saw me just doing the check-ins now. So Jay is a client of mine. He is my first competitive client. Really exciting for that. I'll put his Instagram somewhere on the screen. He has had a mad transformation. Before he came to me, he was, I think he's only 5'4", 5'5", but he was 102 kilos of chub. He came to me at 60 kilos after losing, 40 kilos off of a frame that size is wild. And he said, I'm ready to compete. And he said, how many weeks out do you think I am? My coach reckons I'm 4 or 5 weeks. And I looked at him, I said, you're probably about 16, mate. He's like, what? So yeah, there's still a good chunk to pull off to be stage ready. Okay, so we had that conversation and we decided that we was going to get him close, which we then pulled him down in 12 weeks down to 50 kilos. I said, look, we can carry on, we can get you stage lean, but there's no bloody shows, because this was back end of, I think that we finished in November. And I said, you need more size, at 50 kilos, you just need to get bigger. He said, all right, but he does want to compete. So we did an off season. We are 3-4 weeks into prep now. And he's already back. So he peaked about 60, 62 kilos. Didn't want to get him too fat. And he's back down to 56 now, with a show in September. He's booked in for the Natural PCA show in September. So the fact that he's dropped that quickly potentially means we could jump into a show a little bit sooner. But we'll see what happens. It might stall because he's going to go to places that he's never been before. But I'm excited. It's a great experience for me. I've never prepped anyone for a competition. Obviously stepped on stage myself and got Nath and loads of other people around me that know what the hell they're talking about. So, and I've asked them, can I bounce some ideas off you? And yeah, so really excited to see where he goes. New challenge for me. And it's nice to have someone that's, and this is something that I will say about him. He's passionate. He wants to learn. He doesn't miss a beat. Very receptive to adjustments and not criticism as such, but like, hey bud, he'll send me a form video. I'll be like, yeah, the form was perfect, but why'd you stop? The stuff like that. And he'll be like, all right, okay, I just need to push that to that next level. And there will often be a good reason, like, yeah, it just felt unsafe, which, great. But yeah, so I'm going to leave that there because I've got to run. But thank you for watching the video. I hope you liked the little week in review thing. I will come out with some longer form content and maybe some training content at some point, just because basically with that, I just need to be confident enough to do it. Talking in the gym, I might do a voiceover for it to begin with. I'm still not comfortable with filming myself too much in the gym, just because, first of all, I'm preppy. When I'm in there, I'm really running on fumes. But and I think it'd be something that you guys would enjoy, because I love training. That is the thing that really makes me tick. So anyway, I got to go eat, and thank you for watching the video. You might see some sushi footage after this. I'm not sure, but yeah, if you do, exciting stuff. Really excited to get in that. I love sushi.